shuts down mistruths about horrifying murders. I see all the comments. After launching Confronting O.J. Simpson in 2019, Goldman is meeting with loved ones who have also suffered tragedies in Media Circus. For Kim Goldman, whose beloved brother Ron was murdered 28 years ago, there is no such thing as closure. Decades after the horrific killings that ignited the trial of the century, the 50-year-old has launched a new podcast titled Media Circus, in which she explores media coverage of high-profile crimes. The best-selling author, who based the title of her series on her 2015 book, also sits down with family members in hopes of raising awareness of how their lives were affected over the years. Some of the people she spoke to from Media Circus include Judy Shepard, the mother of Matthew Shepard, Gina DeJesus, who was kidnapped in Ohio at 14 years old and held captive with two other girls, Kiki Doe, a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein, and Amanda Knox, to name a few. While the experience has been therapeutic for Goldman, time has not erased the pain of losing her sibling. I've talked to people for nearly 3 decades. When it comes to trauma and tragedy, Goldman told Fox News Digital, closure is a word that in theory sounds beautiful, but it's anxiety-provoking for those of us on the receiving end of hearing it. There's a finality to the word. When you're dealing with grief and trauma, it just doesn't exist. Instead, we figure out a new normal. We figure out ways to move through the pain. But we don't move on. The chapter's not closed. I didn't realize it at the time, but I wasn't truly mourning when my brother was killed because there was so much chaos, she reflected. My father and I were under such scrutiny. Cameras and people would follow us everywhere. You didn't truly have a moment to just grieve. I remember vividly when after our civil case ended and the media disappeared for a while, it was a jarring feeling, she continued. I suddenly felt very alone. This flood of emotions came over me. I realized I hadn't processed my brother's loss the way that I wanted to or should have. It's hard. I don't think of things in terms of regret. It was just the experience I had. But having the media everywhere, having your every move watched and scrutinized, nothing can prepare you for that. Is she crying? Is she not crying enough? Why is she smiling? She must be over it. All of those things had such difficult layers to it. On the night of June 12, 1994, Ron, 25, and his friend Nicole Brown Simpson, O.J. Simpson's ex-wife, were stabbed to death in one of Los Angeles' most exclusive neighborhoods. Simpson, a Hall of Fame football hero once nicknamed the Juice, was acquitted of the murders. As the verdict was read following one of the most divisive criminal cases in U.S. history, cameras in the courtroom caught a devastated Goldman sobbing uncontrollably. The murder case is officially listed as unsolved. Over the years, Goldman has turned to public service. She works with troubled teens and provides support to crime victims' rights groups. In 2019, she revisited her brother's case in a podcast titled Confronting O.J. Simpson, which featured interviews with prosecutors, investigators, and witnesses who never got to speak, as well as jurors who voted not guilty.